in many of those front-end library kits to give you the better design. So this is the basic layout of the responsive framework where the bootstrap is targeting to achieve the responsiveness, and it is defined on the basis of a grid system layout. What is a grid system layout? In the CSS, if you want to make use of the grid system, you have to make use of the display grid, display flex like this, right? So that property it will be already defining inside it, and it is working on those particular grid system. So it is making the grid entirely as a container. Container is the box, and where it will be having rows and columns, and each row will be having columns, and each row will be having a maximum of 12 columns. So let's quickly see what is this bootstrap and how we had to make use of it. So to access that, it will be available on the getbootstrap.com. So you can also search in the Google and you'll be getting like this. So this is the bootstrap website. If you can see it over here, build fast responsive sites with bootstrap, which is powerful, extensible and feature-packed front-end toolkit. Build and customize with SaaS and utilize pre-built grid system and components and bring the projects to life with powerful JavaScript plugins. And there is a command over here which we are not familiar with this because now we are only taking care of the JavaScript. So to continue with the JavaScript to make use of this, we'll be having a CDN. CDN is nothing but content delivery network. So where it is here and we are accessing with the URL. And if you can see there is a link tag available over here. If we can copy this link tag, this is a external style sheet, right? So which the link is used to link or attach or include an external CSS file into our HTML, right? So we just have to copy this and we'll be going into our page and we'll be using like this. I just make some changes to this, which is I just uh, align this attributes so that you can understand what are those. So if you can see this href, in this it is a URL. In this URL, what you can see, this is a bootstrap min.css. I just open this in our browser. If you can see, this is the bootstrap min.css. It's just like a CSS, but it is a compressed file. What I'll do is like I just change that min to, I'll remove the, I'm accessing now this URL, which is, I'll copy paste because my screen resolution is a little bit low. So now I have removed min from this URL, which is this one. Okay, so this, if you see this min over here, this means this is the minified version. Minified means it is a compressed version. When we are deploying, when we have to deploy, it has to be compressed. It has to reduce the size to give the better performance of the files. So when it comes to it is the regular one. This is for the development purpose, and minified compressed version will be for your deployment version. Okay, so deployment means once you are done with your work, if you want to deploy your code in any server, then we will be making use of this minified version. So that is the key goal over here. Okay, so now if you can see, this is a bootstrap.css. What are it contains? You are not able to understand this particular in the top. So just these are all the simple coding, which is like the color scheme, which is it is happening. If you can see, this is a color code, and this has been given to the particular colors over here. What color it should be there and all. And if you can see, this is a body, and body with the margin, and HR will be having some styles, and this is a group selector. Group selectors will be having a margin tab and all, and kind of. And what is media? So media, based on this media queries, I'll show you what is a media query. It will be, so here the media query, if you can see here, the media query is a fancy term for conditional CSS rule. It simply applies some CSS based on certain conditions set forth. If those conditions are met, the style is applied. So media queries in the Bootstrap allows us to move, show, hide content based on the viewport size. Viewport size is the one where we are able to see this page. So page, how it will be creating, so that is what the viewport it means. So it will be having the resolutions in listed over there, and based on the resolutions it will be there. So here if you can see, this is minimum width for SM for the small devices, MD for the medium devices. I'll show you in the browser, it will be good for you. So all these things, when we are trying to target, it will be having the resolution specific, and based on the resolutions, we'll be having those things. For example, I just go for the containers. Containers will be having the resolution schedule. You can see here, this is extra small, small, medium, large, extra large, and extra extra large. These are the resolutions of your screens considering the width, not with the height. Height will be anyways scrollable, right? So it will be considering the width into the mind, and it will be having that resolutions. So if the screen is having the minimum less than 576 pixels, we'll be considering it as extra small, which is like having the less screens of less screener mobile phones. If you can see then 4 inches, 4.5 inches, or 5 inches, those are all comes into this extra small devices. And 6 point, I mean 6 inches, 6.7, I mean 7 inches phones and all, those will comes into the small, where it will be having a greater than 576 pixel but less than 768. And from 768 pixels to 991, we'll be considering it as a medium, which I will be using for the tablets, the iPads and all. And I got some um, desktops is also coming into the medium, and from 992 onwards to 1199, it will be having a large, so where the large with the laptops and good desktops it will be targeting. And above the extra large and extra extra large, those are high resolution screens where we'll be having the big screens, it will be there. So if you're targeting a website to make use of it, and you need to have to write the styles according to the those large and extra large. So this is the indication where it will be using. Okay. So which is like, I just want to give you the resolutions part from here, not from the bottom. So this is the container, and what is a container and all, we will be seeing it now. So Bootstrap, while discussing with the Bootstrap, it works on the basis of the media queries. What is a media query? Media query, according to the resolution, it will work. So for example, if you can see, this media query, it is working minimum width of 1200 pixel. The H2 size, if you can see, H2, if you can write it as an element, or if you are using any class name H2, the font size will be 2 rem. Okay, the calculation here is like 1 rem equals to 1.5 pixel. So which is like, if it is 2 rem, it will be 3 pixel kind of. Okay, and it will be like this. So if you can see, in every resolution, if you are targeting the resolution, it will be defined as a media query. So media queries means based on the resolution, screen resolution, the styles will be including in our, we can make use of it, right? So it will be changing accordingly according to the screen resolution. I'll show you how to make use of it. So all these are styles. If you can see, there are a lot of styles listed over here. So Bootstrap is nothing but already this was defined somewhere, and we are trying to make use of that in our code. So what is the code structure we have to use for the Bootstrap? So first of all, to make use of the Bootstrap, we'll be including that link, and after that, that is what the thing here it was given. It is from the CDN, and copy the link at the CDN and paste it the HTML section, and it will be like this. And this is the link where you are getting from it. I'm showing it again, and if you can see, this is the one, and you can copy from here, and you can paste it in your HTML page. So here we can paste it, and if you can see, the href, it means we are linking the external CSS to this through this link, and rel is the style sheet, and integrity and the cross origin. These two are for the security purpose. When you are getting the content from another server to here, it has to allow into our website and without any other issues like a cross origin issues and all. So now we are doing the development in the local server, it will not object, but later on when you are using in a secured environment, then it will not allow. So for that, it has to give you some integrity and cross origin attribute so that it will allow into your code. So that is the thing it will be. So in some secured environments, it was not allowed to use that directly from the links. So in that case, what we can do is like we have to download that in a secured way, and we can make use of that CSS into our implementation. You can also download from there, right? So that is what it can be done. So if you are not having the internet also, if you want to work with it, you can download a copy of it and you can make use of it. Downloading means where we have to download. You just simply go here, access the URL when over the internet, and just Control A, Control C, and copy paste in any of your CSS files, and you can work with it. You can simply do that. Okay, so just like if I want to make a local copy of it, you can simply use a file with Bootstrap like this, and you can paste it like this. So it will be having a local copy. So whenever there is no, um, you know, internet and all, so then we can make use of it like this. So in that case, I can link that href with. So this is available over here. Okay, so this indicates that this page has been loaded with the script, which is Bootstrap. Sorry for the spelling is not right. I just correct it. So this path should be the same thing it has to be. So that is the reason I have used it with the proper path. So if the proper path is not working, then it will not come. So now I'm just opening with the live server. Live server is the local server where we can make use of it. And now if you can see before Bootstrap and before Bootstrap and after Bootstrap, I just want to show you. I will be commenting these links, and if you can see, the content will be like the text is different, right? So if I use this Bootstrap, if I am enabling the Bootstrap over here, and if you can see that, and the spacing, everything, it was gone. If you can see, before it was having some spacing, right? If you can see it over here, the content is having the position like this and all. And if I'm using the Bootstrap, it will be like this. So for the time being, as I'm having the internet, I'm just removing this and I'm working directly with the CDN link. So I'm just enabling this one, and if you can see, this is the Bootstrap how we will use it. And what are all the main contents of the Bootstrap? Then what we have to use, right? So, coming to the theoretical discussion of this bootstrap, so the container is the outermost, it is the basic layout element in the bootstrap and are required when using our default grid system. So when you are listing out any content, and we have to make use of this container as the basic layout element, and based on that container we will be defining our style. So if you can see, containers are used to contain, pad, and sometimes to center the content within them. And while containers can be nested, and most layers do not require a nested container. So even every container will be having the rows, and rows will be having the columns. So let's get a structure of it, how it will work. So now what I am doing is I'm just doing the body class equals to container. So body is the outer basic layout element for any HTML page. So I'm just giving the class container to that particular body. And then we can make use of the sections over here. So I'm just making a header section, and header the class is a row, and in that I'll be creating a columns, and this column I'll be using the h1 content over here. Okay, and then I have some other text over which is over here, and for that I'll be using some row, and I am making use of this content with column, and inside the column I'm just making use of this text, and I'm making two more columns for this one. Okay, and if you can see the structure of it, this is the container, body is a container, and then header is a row, and another row is there. So there are two rows is there. In the first row, I have only single column, okay, and the second row, I'll be having three columns over here. So now see how the page it will become. Now if you can see, there are some borders we have applied for that particular elements, so which is like it is appearing like this. So if you can see the header part and all. So as we have applied the styles like that, so it will be defining like this. So now I will show you how it will be looking like in our control part, this developer tools part. So this is the content over here. So this is the header part, and this is the body part. If you can see the body, the container, it is having the margins and padding. Margin is the orange color, green is the padding, and uh, it is just taking the space side by side. And I'm showing you the resolution part, which is 200%. And if I can show you, this is the 100% of the page of mine. So mine is a high resolution, and if you can see that the body is taking the left and right side space like this, and header is the row, and another will be having rows like this. So as the screen is much smaller to you, I'm just making, I'm just zooming it up, and if you can see here, the row has been divided into three different columns. So if you can see this is the column. So like that, if we have that row, and this is another row, and row will be dividing into three different columns. So we have used some style which is looking like a little odd. I'm just go with it, and I'll remove that. So margins, the borders. I think the margins are a little more. Padding should also, and I just remove the width. Now you can see that there is some change over here, and Just remove this. What I'll do is like I just give this div h1. Oh, I have given this one to h1. I'm just making this to header so that it will look same for everything. I'm just simply changing this one, and if you can see, this content is looking little better now. Now, if you can see that, the borders, why I'm using is like to show you how the content it is located and how it is divided over here. And if you want to make use of any other things like this, for example, if you want to have this header part with the logo one, so I just want to use the column over here, and I'll be using some image or whatever will be having. I think I have an image, right? Yeah. So in that I'll be using image, uh, src. I have images stock, and the width is 100% of that, and alternative text is a logo, and it will be like this. Okay. Now, if you can see that this column is having this image, but if you can see that it is not looking like a header, and it is the dog is appearing bigger, right? So if we can control that with column resizing. So now if you can see here, what it is happening is this header part is divided into two equal columns when we have that column and column. So we can also limit that columns by giving some numbers. So if you can see column hyphen 2, it will be setting it up. This column, first column is a two columns, and this column in the rest of the columns. And a row can be divided into a maximum of 12 columns. Can't we do more than that? Yes, we can do. But it is the best thing what you can fit the content of this 12 columns in a row. So apart from that, more number of columns, it will shrink your content and it will not appear good. So that is the reason a row can have maximum of 12 columns. Row will be representing with row and columns will be representing with column. So like this, if you can see this dog is appearing a little better. And if you want to change this to one also, you can. It is, I think it looks little smaller. And if you want to make it as a column too, it is little good, right? And if you want to write some styles for this one, like which is if you want to make work with a border radius kind of thing, I'll be using. So it don't have a border, one pixel. Now I'm changing this border to something else, like to look like this. So which is, if you can see this image is little having uh, borders, and it will be looking like this. If you can see it. So 74, it is making some little round over there, and if you can make use of the, okay, like this, we can make use of it, and we can make use of the margins, um, margin 10 pixel. It is but Okay, so just it is just coming like here and there, but if you can see some of the styles maybe strike off, so just not striking off, so which is good. And if you can see that content will be like this. So you have to apply that the styling over here. So sometimes the margin right will not work and left is not required. Then what you have to do is like we just have to work with only margin top and bottom. So margin top, which will be giving you the 20 or 10 pixel. So it will only work with the 10 pixel in the top and margin bottom 10 pixel, which is giving you some space like this. And you can also reduce this the width of the logo. I'm just giving some 80% so that it will look some good like this. Or else you just make it as a 90. Okay. So it will be looking like this. The left part you just have to control. So a left part we are having more. This one, so just the content is available like this. And if you can see that is more content is there is a space over there. So if you want to occupy this space or if you want to make use of that, that will be 100%. It will be occupying to this. So now the image is in the right place, and if you can see that is in the right place with proper borders and all. So this is how it will be like. You need to have to do accordingly. And if you change the columns, it will be fitting the content accordingly. So I just copy this the styles, whatever there I have listed, it is working fine. And I'm making use of this inside our heading bar. So where will be using this one? So I can make use of this for uh, a logo, okay? And a logo will be having this one and removing the margin part. And this logo I will be giving to my IMG where the class is logo. So it will be like this. Now you can see that that logo is appearing like this. And now we have to work on this particular content. Content is looking a little smaller and it has to be more bigger than that, right? So in this, I just have to take this out this H1. The H1 style should be like this, and there is H1 style is here, and we need that the content to be fit to this particular thing. So which is like I need some margin to it, or it should be like the horizontal alignment or vertical alignment. This is the vertical alignment, and this horizontal alignment how we'll be using. So we vertical align, and we can see that content middle, top, all this coming over here. Okay. And what I do is like I just do the middle one. It is not changing and horizontal or I just do with the text align part. It is going for the center text or kind of thing. So this will not be required and I just go for the content align. Uh, content so content content it is not there. So just align will go. Align content is that is working. It is also not working. So we have to then this alignment styles if you are not able to figure it out, then you have to work with that margins part. So which is like margin 10 pixel or margin top 20 pixel so that it will come down like this. So instead of giving some margins, because if you give this margin, so it will the content it will start from this particular thing, right? So just I am using like this, and like this. So just this is the title. So if I give the margin 48, so then it will be good. Now I'm just going with it, and so where is it? It is having header H1, and I'll be having this one margin top right. So I'll be using that. Okay. Now you can see that the content is just below this one, and if you do any good title, so this is a uh, sample website, and with you can use any small element over here, which is small, a simple caption. Anything is fine. I just want to make use of this. So this is a simple caption, and this will be like this. We can also align this simple caption just behind below this one, so that you can locate that content accordingly. So just like you can replace that with something else will be happening. Right. So you can also set it like this. So the content it will be looking like this, and you can divide your content like this. Just if I am making use of this content more elegant like this, for example, I just use the div. Okay, I just use the row and the row with some columns, so you can make any number of columns over here. I just copy 6, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 columns. I'm just making it up, and I'm just making use of some para inside. Okay, I'm just making some paras inside. If you can see that how this page has been broken into number of, the rows has been broken into number of columns. So it is the row has been divided into 7 equal columns, and it will be like this. So you can fit the content accordingly, and it will be like this. So it will be, if you can see the sum text, it will be like this. And if you want to occupy entire area, so which is like, for example, in my previous for this one, so I just want to make use of 6 columns as the first thing, and the second half will be divided into 3 and 3, and it will be like this. If you can see here, this is the one, not this one, this is the row. So now this one, if you can see, this is has been divided into 6 columns, which is the 50% of your content, and other 2 columns has been divided into 3 and 3. As we haven't mentioned any number, so it was dividing the rest of the space into 3, which is totally we have seen that 12 columns, right? So which is like the rest of the things it will be divided into 2 equal parts. So if I mention the 6 over here, the rest it will be considering with the 3 and 3 columns out there. So totally it will be 12 columns it will be considering like this. And like that, if we want to make use of this column structure to be merged with something else before, like here. So if you want to have the space, uneven space over here. So just like if you want to have the column of 4 over here, and if you want to have the column 5 over here. So I just give this 5 and 4, which is equals to 9 columns over here, right? So 5 plus 4 is 9. And if you can see the page, how it will be divided. If you can see, this is 4, 5, and 4. And rest of the paragraphs, it was shrinked to that particular single, or whatever it will be happening space. So if it is a single, or it is below than that also, if you can see it over here, it is below than that, right? So totally 1, 2, 3, and 3 to 5, 5 plus 9, it is 14 column space. It was divided like this, so which is the same space it was divided like that. So this is how the content you have to make up accordingly, and you have to style accordingly, and it will be like this, right? And most importantly, when using the bootstrap, we'll be having some components over here. So for example, if you can get to the documents, there is a layout it will be having, which is like containers and all. So coming to the containers first, containers will be having two different containers, and where it will be coming to the major part, like we'll be having the container fluid and container. So if I'm using the container fluid over here, I'm just copying it and I'm just pasting it inside our body. So instead of the container, I'm using the container fluid. So now the page, how it will be defining, if you can see it over here, it was fixed container fluid is like it is stretching full to the page. So earlier what we have seen that I'll show you it over here. Hope you are able to remember. So this is the one. So just like margins, this side and this side, and right side and left side will be having. But if you use the container fluid, it will fix to your page and it will look like this. Okay, so this is the container fluid where you can work uh, to fix the content full length accordingly. There are other containers for which is for the specific resolution. You can make use of that accordingly. And default container is the container, and responsive containers or all those other things it will be there. And if you can see the grid how it will work, grid will be having container will be divided into rows and columns, and each columns will be having how they'll work and all something in between. So which is how they'll work. And grid columns built on the grid flex box architecture, and when building grid layouts, all content goes in the columns. And Bootstrap includes the predefined classes for creating responsive layouts, and this is the columns how I have given you the thing, right, so that it is you can make use of it. And there are some gutters over here. Gutters help you to pad between the columns. So we have the padding, right? So just there is no padding between the columns to columns. If you can see it over here, there is uh, column. This is the column, and this is the column. So this column and this column, if you want to see that there is a space between these two, that is called as a gutter. Gutters are the padding between your columns and used to responsibly space and align content in the Bootstrap system. So we can make use of the gutters to start with, and you can also work with it accordingly. And we have more components over here. If you can see the components part, so there's accordion, alerts, badge, breadcrumb buttons, and card, carousels, all those things. So if we can come to the nav bar, so if we want to implement the nav bar, we have to make use of any list, and we have to change the list styles to the something else, like we have to change the display properties and all. So it was not required here. If you can have this components handy, you can just copy this and you can use it whatever you want. So for example, this is the navigation bar with the drop down, search, all these things. Right, I just took it. I'll be taking a simple navigation bar which is having some straight away navigation and with some disable button over here. And this is the straight away class for that particular navigation. I mean that classes and the HTML part. I simply copied it by using the copy, and I will go here, and below the header I'll be making use of some this code over here, which is like nav is also a container element, and where will be happening like this, and can also use that as is like this. So you can also make use of the row inside it, and you can make also the container fluid, and it will be a column kind of. You can also make use of it. Now you can see that there is a home and there is a borders. It is appearing which is not good. So where it is borders? Yes, this div is having the borders. So all those borders we need to have to cut it off, right? So if you want specific borders, you can make use of the borders for specific classes. So I'm just removing it for div because the div is a common thing. And now if you can see that it is appearing only for this one, and you can have this for nav, and if you can see that now it will be coming up, and I'll remove this container fluid and it is just fixing it up and to the page, and I'm choosing it. If you can see here the site with navigation bar, how it will be appearing like this. And if you want little space also above, if you can see this is a little, it was completely attached to this particular top of this page, right? So if you want some style also, you can also make use of it, or else if you make use of some header class. So header is there. This header part, if I am making header with margin top 10 pixel with high priority. So just giving here some space below this like this, so you can have to make use of it. And if you want any other style to be worked for this one, you can change the themes accordingly. You can see here, you can come here and you can make use of some color themes. If you can see, there is some color themes available over here. And if you want to have some dark theme kind of thing, so just copy this one, okay, and then I'll go to my nav class. Where is my nav class over here? So this one, right? So I just replace this class with nav bar, and I will try to open that one. Now you can see that, okay, but this is not working. So you should, this is seems to be some classes has been missing. So what we have to do is like this BG body is there. So BG body we need to have to compare this BG body here. BG body is not there, but BG dark is there, and other border bottom border body are there. So we have border bottom border is not there. So what we have to do, we have to copy this whatever it is missing, and then we'll be pasting it. So only those things it will be there. Then you remove this BG, that one. Now you can see that how it will be behaving. Now you can see that there is some these are not appearing good, like the text is not appearing. So there is another one missing over here, which is database theme. Okay, now we can see that how if it is changing good or not. So if you can see it, it is looking good, right? So this is how it will be now, and the content we'll be using like this. And if you want little space above the nav bar, also just like this header, you can also make use of that nav bar to have this space with margin top. I'm giving some 5 pixel, which is rather important, so that it has to dominate. Now you can see there is some space appearing between these two contents. So 5 pixel, if you feel it is little more, you can reduce to pixel something, then it will be looking like this. Like that, you have to make use of the content accordingly, and it will be like this. And next comes to we have another component, and that component will be having, and one more important point over here, which is like you can see how the page is working with the mobile also. You can see it over here. This is your mobile thing, and in the mobile thing, this space is more. And if you can see, the menu has been converted into this one. But even though if I am clicking on it, it is not working because to perform any action, we need a script. That script we need to have to include over here. As of now, we don't know about the script, but still we can make use of the script copy, and we'll be pasting it over here. Okay. So now you can see the script will be having a source, and it is already minified version. You don't have to do with it, and only the thing is like you have to attach, and you can see that how it is working. Now you can see it over here in the page and in the document. Now I think it is refreshed and now you can see that the navigation bar it is working fine. Now it is 55%. I can see it in 100%. This is for the iPad. I mean iPad Air, which is like this. And you can rotate the screen, which is like this, and it will be coming like this. Even you can check for the devices, like for example, you can have all the devices available. You can also edit what are all the devices will be shown over here. So I'm trying to see the website in iPhone XR. iPhone XR with the 73% it is there. You can see it 100%. You can see it in the 200%. How it look like, and it will be there. So generally 100% gives you that, and you need to have to set up this with the resolution, right? So this is how it will look like, and logo is a little bit smaller, and you have to make use of the space, and you have to work with that particular thing. And this is a landscape move and how it is working. So in the mobile phones, it will look like this, right? So this is how you have to check the mobile responsiveness of your website, and you have to work on it. Desktop it is looking fine, but mobile it is not looking good. But it will you need to have to change accordingly, whatever the style should be. So likewise, we have many components ready-made, and if you can see it over here, there are a lot of components. It is ready. For example, if you want to add some carousels over here, and the carousels, if you can make use of some images, it will be working like this. And simply you just have to copy this code and replace the images over here, sources, and you can try that over there. So it is as simple as that. So which is like you can simply make use of that, and you can make use of the images to be changed and alternative text to be changed. Everything you have to change, and you can make use of that. The carousels will give you the immense feeling of giving you the you know sliders into your website, and there are some accordions. It will be there. Accordions are the content in aligners, where if you have list of content, that should be if you click on it, it will be dropped down. It will be like this. So these are the accordions. Likewise, we have um, buttons. If you want some styled buttons like this, you can have this number of types of buttons. And we have cards. Cards is nothing but when we have the image and then there is a card title and this kind of things, you can also use that. So simply you can copy this card and you can paste it in your content wherever it is, which is over here. For example, I just in this column, I'm just putting that, and image source. I just make use of this dog only. Okay, and some text it is there. What I do is like this card, I'm just copying and pasting it up. And so inside the columns, I'm just making these cards. What is this? This is an Excel. Now you can see this is a little, there is another card. It has been messed up. So just like you can put one more card over here. So, but three columns over here, and if you okay, this is six column, right? Okay, that is the point over here. So if you can save it, it will come into three columns. And if you want to have this cards to be displayed in four, then it will be like this. Now you can see that. So there are four cards it is available, and with whatever the pictures you'll be using, and you can replace these pictures and it will work like that, like we'll be having. So if you are using one more column over here, and if you can see that, it will go down. It will not come in this because it will take that particular alignment. So which is like card is having some space and it will fit into that particular content only. And you can make use of some other things and you can use those cards accordingly. So just This is the proper way how you will be doing it, and you can use that. And you can use the slider, and you can use the content like this, and whatever the things it is already there for here, we can make use of it. So, for example, if I want to make this row as a section part, okay, so this section is here, and I'm just making this section to make use of the border so that it will look a better thing. So if I am using this, and now you can see that there is a border appearing, and if you want that section also have that margin top section with the group selector, I'm just using the section. Now you can see that there is a margin appearing over there, and you can also see that how it is going coming up. And like that, like if you want to see anything, and you can make use of this with the bootstrap simply like this. Okay, and this row is not impacting as I'm just giving you some this one, so which is like you can also make use of some footers and with columns, and in the column I just want to write something in the center column, and I don't want to write anything inside or whatever the columns you'll be using. You can use it like this, or you can use center alignment to make use of that text over here. And I just use this paragraph to include with the copyright kind of thing. Okay, copyright at 2023, and it will be like this. And I just made some styles for this particular footer. So footer also will be having uh, a border. Okay. So whatever the styles you'll be writing commonly, so what are all the things it needs, we'll be using that. So just for margin, for headers and footers, all these things we will be defining these footers like this. And particularly for the footer, we need some background color, and that too black. Okay. So if I'm using this, and if you can see here, the footer has been appeared, but the text is not appearing. Right, the text is appeared somewhere over here. If you can see, if I'm highlighting, it is coming it up. So for the footer, what we have to do is we need to have to change the text color, where the color we are giving it as a white, and then text align, which is center. And now if you can see this, this is appearing over here with the white color and all. And you can use this, like if you can see the website, and this is I simply make use of this bootstrap to frame this contents all over like this, right? And we can also make use of some, this is a boxy kind of thing, right? So we can also make use of some curvy borders just like this content how it is looking. So for that, what we have to do is like we need to have to set it up with a border radiuses, which is border is there, right? So I'll just give them 10 pixel border radius. Then if you can see that there are some curvy borders, it is appearing over here like this. So this is how you have to do whatever the content you are making it up, and how it is will be like this, right? So that is the bootstrap. So bootstrap, how we have to use is like you need to have to make use of this bootstrap with the grid system. So grid systems are used for creating the page layouts through a series of rows and columns that have a content. And how the bootstrap works is like a rows must be placed within a container. That is what we have done. So, and with the container class for the proper alignment and padding, and use rows for the horizontal group of columns, and content should be placed within the columns, and only columns may be immediate children of the rows. And predefined grid classes like row and column 4 are available for quickly making grid layouts. And also we have seen the grid options. So the grid options can adapt that across all the 6 default breakpoints, and where any breakpoints you can customize. The 6 default grid tiers are extra small, small, medium, large, extra large, and all. If you are not giving any style, it will be targeting to the desktop. So that is what we have done today. Okay, so this is all about the bootstrap, and these are all the other elements and it will be having. And the next session will be starting with the JavaScript and do some practice and let me know if you have any questions with this um, Bootstrap and CSS and how we give space or gap between the cards by using Bootstrap. So, which gap you're talking about? This columns you're talking about. Yes, so you can unmute your mic and you can talk to me. So what space you are talking about and all. So, 22.
Can we
Yes,
integrate
enough.
any backend? Can we integrate any backend code the data, pull the data from the database and display by using the Bootstrap? Bootstrap.
Yes, you can. That needs an APIs from the backend. So if you are doing some backend programming, you have to do some APIs, and then the backend API will give you the JSON data. So the data will be there in the JSON format, and that JSON data you need to have to get from the promises using the script. If you are aware of the JavaScript with the fetch and fetch methods and other axios kind of thing, then you can get the data from the fetch and you can display in the bootstrap however you want. You can create the elements and you can make use of that elements to display the content.
Okay, I think that will be covered in next session, right? In JavaScript session, the fetch.
In the JavaScript, we will be covering only the basic JavaScript till the fetch. Yeah, we can get that fetch, and I'll show you some fake APIs, how the data it will be there, and the JSON format, how you have to integrate, and how to create the elements based on the data. That will
Okay,
be covered.
thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Any other queries? Okay. If you don't have any questions, we'll be wrapping up here, and we'll see you in the next session with the JavaScript.
Thank you. Okay, could you
Thank
please
you.
share that our running notes, please, sir? Um,
Yes,
how
yesterday I
are
have
you
shared
sharing?
till the CSS, HTML and
Yeah.
CSS. This
How are you sharing that, sir? Like in WhatsApp, do I need to check or an email?
I think you have to contact to the organizer. So I'll be sending to organizer, and I think your registered email IDs and mobile numbers are there, right? So they'll be sending
Yes.
it either the WhatsApp or mail. You just please contact the organizer, and they'll be
Sure.
sharing you the recording sessions as well. So just contact them.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, then. Thank you. Thank you for today.